It's not every day that a city stands completely still, but today, Manchester did. The streets that once echoed with chants of victory and celebration were now filled with a somber silence and the sound of slow, steady applause. Fans, friends, and families lined the streets, holding banners, flags, and tears in their eyes as the procession carrying Ricky Hatton, the city's beloved boxing legend, made its way through Manchester. It was more than a funeral. It was a farewell fit for a hero. Ricky Hatton, affectionately known as the Hitman, wasn't just a fighter. He was the pride of Manchester, a working-class hero who carried the hopes of an entire city into every ring he entered. And now, that same city turned out in the thousands to carry him one last time. From Hyde, his hometown, to the heart of Manchester, the crowd stretched for miles, chanting, "There's only one Ricky Hatton," a phrase that once roared through packed arenas and now echoed through tearful goodbyes. The day began with Hatton's funeral procession departing from his favorite local spot, the Cheshire Cheese pub in Hyde, where he spent countless hours laughing, celebrating, and connecting with the people who meant the most to him. The hearse, led by a vintage Reliant Regal, a cheeky nod to his love for the British sitcom Only Fools and Horses, made its slow journey through the streets. Everywhere it went, people clapped, saluted, and sang his name. It wasn't a moment of mourning alone. It was Manchester's way of saying thank you. As the procession continued, the streets were draped in blue, the color of Manchester City, Hatton's lifelong football club. Scarves, flags, and handmade signs filled the air, turning grief into unity. Fans spoke about how Ricky had inspired them, not just through his championship belts or famous fights, but through his humility, humor, and heart. "He was one of us," one fan said, tears streaming down his face. "He never forgot where he came from. That's why we'll never forget him." The route passed some of the most important places in Hatton's life. His gym, where he trained countless young fighters, Hyde Town Hall, where he was once celebrated as a local hero, and finally, the iconic Manchester Cathedral, where the main funeral service was held. Although the ceremony inside was private, the thousands outside made sure the world could feel the emotion. A brass band played, "Walking in a Hatton Wonderland," a song that had become synonymous with his fights, and fans joined in softly, creating a moment that was both heartbreaking and beautiful. Inside the cathedral, the service was attended by Hatton's family, close friends, and many big names from the boxing and sports world. Tyson Fury, Tony Bellew, and Frazer Clarke were among those who came to pay their respects, standing shoulder to shoulder with Hatton's loved ones. Each tribute shared one common thread, that Ricky wasn't just a champion in the ring, but a champion in life. After the service, the funeral cortege continued its journey toward the Etihad Stadium, the home of Manchester City. It was a deeply emotional stop, the place where Hatton had celebrated many victories as a fan, now becoming the site of his final farewell. The gates were covered in blue and white flowers, photos, boxing gloves, and heartfelt messages. One note read, "Thank you, champ. You made us proud every single day." Another said simply, "Once a Blue, always a Blue." Throughout his life, Ricky Hatton represented everything Manchester stood for: hard work, determination, loyalty, and humor. His career was filled with unforgettable moments. His stunning victory over Kostya Tsayu in 2005, his world titles in 2 weight divisions, and his fearless fights against Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. But even at the height of fame, Hatton remained grounded. He still visited local pubs, signed autographs for kids, and supported up-and-coming boxers. That humility made him more than just a boxing legend. It made him a people's hero. Outside the spotlight, Ricky faced personal struggles with honesty and courage. He openly discussed his battles with mental health and depression, inspiring countless others to seek help and speak out. His willingness to show vulnerability in a sport built on toughness made him even more respected. To many, Ricky Hatton was living proof that strength isn't just about how hard you can hit. It's also about how you get back up. When news of his passing broke, tributes poured in from around the world. Fans, fellow athletes, and celebrities expressed their shock and heartbreak. Social media flooded with messages, photos, and memories. But it was Manchester that felt the loss most deeply. The city that raised him, cheered for him, and stood by him through every high and low, came together one final time to celebrate the man, the fighter, and the legend. As the sun began to set over the city, the last leg of the procession came to an end. The crowds remained, holding their banners high, as a chorus of voices softly sang his anthem one more time. There were tears, yes, but there was also pride, because Ricky Hatton had done what few ever could. He had united a city, inspired a nation, and left behind a legacy that would never fade. For Manchester, Ricky Hatton wasn't just a boxer. He was family. A man who fought with his heart, lived with passion, and gave everything to the people who loved him. His funeral was more than a goodbye. It was a celebration of everything he stood for. The cheers that once followed him into the ring now followed him to his final rest, proving that even in death, the people's champion still reigns supreme. And as the night fell, one phrase echoed across the streets of Manchester, carried on the wind by thousands of voices. There's only one Ricky Hatton.